Probably used to seeing these sites on this channel, but what you haven't seen is this. This is Mark Bell's PowerCast. Hey, this is Jim McDonald, a super training OG from way back at the very beginning, somebody who has produced content for super training for a long time. And this is Mark Bell's PowerCast. It started in 2013 as primarily an audio podcast. We eventually brought it to YouTube on the Super Training TV channel, and now we're going to share it here with you on Super Training 06. If you're interested in just the audio version, you can pick it up on iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio, or at thepowercast.com. Enjoy this episode as it was originally broadcast earlier this week. Hey, this is Jim McDonald. Welcome to episode 124 of the PowerCast. This episode marks the return of Mr. Chad Wesley Smith, the juggernaut himself. Our sponsors for this episode, howmuchyobench.net, bench heavy with no pain with Mark Bell's slingshot at howmuchyobench.net. Rogue Fitness, your one-stop shop for powerlifting gear and equipment at thepowercast.com/rogue. Compex USA, FDA-approved wireless electronic muscle stimulation for recovery and growth at shopcompex.com. They actually have wired units too. We have one of those right here in the studio, as a matter of fact. cavemancoffeeco.com. And 8Man Strong apparel for people who lift heavy weights at 8manstrong.com. Enjoy this episode.
I'm supposed to say testing here.
No, I can hear you. If I couldn't hear you, I would mess with you.
You sound obese. Is that what's doing it? Yeah. The heavy breathing?
It's the heavy breathing.
Recorded live.
You just got ketones all over a microphone.
California. This is Mark Bell's PowerCast.
Yeah.
Alongside Silent Mike and Jim McDonald.
Everyone asks where Dick Lickerson is in all the videos. I was like, why would he's so ugly? Why would we put him in the videos? We're trying to get fucking views, not dislikes.
He's got a good voice, but not a good face.
Yeah. Yeah, literally the face for radio.
He has a face for radio. Voice for radio, face for radio.
He's an ugly motherfucker.
Before we get... This is well, not so bad without the beard, but man, that fucking beard.
No,
Jesus
he's pretty
Christ,
bad.
homeless.
He's pretty bad with both.
He's a fat homeless man.
He's gotten stronger, though.
He's doing all
When he
right.
came in, he hit up some pretty good deadlifts.
All right.
Yeah.
If only anyone cared about that, it would actually matter.
No.
Yeah, no one cares.
No, they'd rather see somebody eat a Pop-Tart.
There you
Probably.
Dance around in a fucking Power Ranger suit or something.
Yeah,
A lot of likes, a lot of views right there.
How about that Power Ranger outfit? A little tight in the crotch, too, right?
Well, I think that the truth is it's loose in the crotch, but maybe I fill it out well.
The inseam looked a little shy.
I had shorts on underneath.
Shallow.
There's the top secret.
It was probably designed for like a 13-year-old kid, so it was right.
Yeah,
But-
so it's perfect sizing.
By shorts, you mean like briefs, right?
No, I think I had sweat shorts on.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
Not-
ins are underwear. Double ply ins are underpants.
Not my USAPL panties I just bought for $50.
Oh
Was
my
that the Titan single ply thong?
Yeah. Oh, you've heard of that? I thought I had the only prototype.
Oh, that'll rocket you out of the bottom, right?
There you go. Well, before we get too far into it, I was going to show you this wall graphic from Ramsey CrossFit, which is actually a non-profit CrossFit for law enforcement.
Cool.
And
Looks cool.
And there is Mark Bell on their wall.
Oh my God, that's me.
Is that me in the background doing the high kick?
I don't. I know you. Maybe you're on the heavy bag. And actually, yeah, I know that it's the high kick.
Yeah,
I'm
I thought
sorry.
that was me.
Whatever's
I like
going on
that
down here.
I like that it's kind of more of a silhouette of me. Otherwise, I'd look obese.
Yeah,
Yeah, your
As I
face looks
normally
very
do.
slim right there.
Yeah, that's the best my
I
face
thought Mike
ever
was
looked.
that guy who looks like he's falling down, but then I figured out.
Yeah,
he's
what is he doing?
a Turkish get up.
Yeah, I've never done one of those.
I think it's maybe
I
around
do the Turkish get down.
around the corner, like running away. That's what that.
I'm actually in there
Where is
lifting
that?
weights is what I'm doing.
Where's that CrossFit?
That's a good question.
I bet it's international. I bet it's not here.
No, it's here.
Oh,
It's
really?
here. Yeah. The guy told me where
International Man of Mystery.
Yeah, baby.
Oh my God.
Ramsey CrossFit.
You been CrossFitting much, Chad?
CrossFat.
A little cross-fatting.
Yeah, three times the weight, 1/3 the reps.
Portland.
Portland
Canada.
Street, Calgary.
Oh,
That's
see,
what
I
this
knew it
says.
wasn't America. I don't know why. I
I
got
don't know
the
if it's
feeling.
this one.
Canada.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
No red-blooded
It's-
American have Mark Bell on their wall.
Steroids are as American as apple pie, I heard.
Apple pie. Yeah. Well, that's it.
Ramsey. We're coming.
We made it. Somewhere. Something.
Isn't it weird to find that like people have put you on their wall?
I have a fat head of Mark in
pretty
my
cool.
living room.
Pretty cool.
Is that the same?
A fathead?
Yeah.
I have a fat head.
I know. So when you put your fat head on a fat head,
I have a pumpkin head, I'd say, but not quite the CSW version over there that we see underneath that tiny little juggernaut hat. Is that a full-sized hat?
CSW, who is that?
I don't know. Oh yeah, I got it back. I got a little
CWS.
backwards. Oh yeah, that's the way it looks to me.
Dyslexia hit you a bit there.
Or as you referred to him, and I think the last episode, the episode that went up today, Fat Wesley Smith.
Fat Wesley Smith.
Bodyweight handsome. Bodyweight handsome. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Super
He knows I'm jealous.
Yeah, super heavyweight heartthrob.
What do you think about some of these stand-ins we have? We have Superman over here.
yeah. If you had to choose one guy to be on your team out of these three in front of you, who's having? What'd you say, CSW? Who's having CSW's back?
I'm probably going to go with JC over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All kinds of superpowers.
Do you think
You like the long hair?
you'd rather have someone who can make wine than shoot lasers out of their face?
You haven't read that parable?
With the lasers out of Jesus Christ's face?
Yeah.
He's got a book, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's true. New York best time seller here.
Yeah.
The other two haven't
Multiple
written a book.
time.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson's even on the table. for
Oh,
God's
shit.
sakes.
All right. I didn't realize the book.
Bo Jackson
Wait a
versus
second,
Jesus.
I changed my vote.
Jesus versus the Bears.
Now Jesus. Now Bo Jackson.
I mean,
What are you
if-
doing to yourself these days, Chad Wesley Smith?
Hanging out, riding in limos and stuff, drinking
Yeah.
chocolate milk out of champagne flutes.
Yeah, what was that? What was that about?
Just a luxurious life. Up
Trying
here.
to get that lactose in.
Oh,
in
yeah.
your-
So
in
you're
your
telling
diet?
us there's money in powerlifting. Is what you're telling all our listeners.
There's at least limos with chocolate milk in them.
Yeah, damn, that's good. Yeah, you brought the chocolate milk, or there was just chocolate milk sitting there?
Nah, I brought that myself.
Bring your own chocolate milk.
I'm imagining a limo with a chocolate milk like dispenser in the
Yeah,
back. Just
That's not a bad idea.
A keg of chocolate milk.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like those electric soda machines.
yeah, can't
Those digital ones
Is
where
it
you
too
can
hard to
choose
find
anything.
a limo and chocolate milk in the same spot?
Maybe in Willy Wonka's fucking factory.
Yeah,
shit.
damn, trying to get those gains.
You can go hot or you can go cold.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
You get really mini marshmallows.
They need a coffee machine like that electric soda machine where you can add like fucking vanilla or you
Yeah.
can add fucking
I
caramel.
probably have one.
Oh, well, I'm
somewhere.
gonna invent one. No
That
one
machine's-
steal patent. Don't steal that shit.
That machine's so confusing.
I know it's great though.
It is a little daunting.
Well, and the buttons don't work because everyone's fat,
Daunting,
stinky
that's a
fingers.
great- Yeah, I could just picture you just scratching your head. Like, the fuck is this?
3 steps to get a soda.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down for a while. Too many big decisions to be made here.
Yeah, what what is this? A 3D printer or something? What's going on here? You just fucking make anything out of this thing?
Kind of.
Pretty soon your food's just going to come out of that.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
I heard they have something like that.
Yeah, you need like a
Called
cheat.
an oven.
Yeah.
Maybe you can
Microwave.
Maybe you can type in a cheat code and get ice cream out of that bitch.
Oh, it turns into froyo. Up, down, left, right, left, right. Froyo starts squirting out.
Yeah, yeah. You just hit some sort of secret passageway through.
Yeah. BCAA's out of the
Then
thing.
you have your ice cream buffet and your
What do you know about an ice cream buffet? That's a good idea, huh?
A thing or two.
Yeah.
one thing or two.
One wall's gelato, a little corner's froyo, the other wall's ice cream, the other side's all toppings, and it's all served from girls in bikinis.
Now we're on to something.
See?
Now.
Oh, and it's
we're onto
chilly.
Something.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah,
whole
yeah.
place is
They're in
chilly.
bikinis, and we're in coats like those ice bars. Have you seen those ice bars? So we're nice and warm, and the bitches are cold.
They're not wearing.
Excuse
a lot
me,
of clothes.
ladies. I don't say bitches.
Yeah, well, you kind of just did.
All the ladies are dressed in bikinis.
Yeah.
I just
edit that.
Imagine they're upscale ladies.
Itsy
all.
bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikinis.
I got a small weenie.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
What do you think about stim machines? We were talking about it earlier.
ever
Moving away
put
from
one-
froyo
You ever put one on your face?
or your nipples.
Excellent segue. there, Michael.
Well,
A true journalism professional.
I think I can come
You were
back
talking
to
about
that.
Ben's Johnson
Well,
and
actually,
his
yeah,
stim machine.
I got a little bit of way of circling around to it. I was using ice cream the other day on my pec, and it was actually pretty effective
oh, Ben and Jerry?
for recovery. Yeah,
Just
you had a-
holding the pint there and
yeah, taking a scoop or two here and there.
Well, I think
Until
we-
you'd eaten so much that it wasn't actually cold anymore.
Yeah,
We've talked about it in the past, Mark and I, in a different video, but if you really concentrate on the muscle part that you want to recover as you're eating, the nutrients automatically get at least 30% more shuttled there. So he's thinking peck, eating ice cream, 30% recovery. Glycogen
is
storage.
that the mind muscle connection?
That's
Yeah.
the mind ice cream connection.
Mind muscle ice cream.
Kai Green invented that.
So stem machines. We're going to talk about those.
Yeah, and Ben Johnson, not Ben Smith.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson blowing his hammy out.
Yeah, so we're talking about Compex unit. I've used that extensively in the past. Mark's using it on the pec.
You used it on your glutes?
Wherever.
No, I'm not even joking now. Now I'm dead serious. It's the best feeling ever. It feels so good.
It's really hard for me to reach back there and attach.
Oh, you need a Mark Bell to put it on.
Yes.
With my chin. So.
Let me just apply that right there. Yeah, I think it's got a lot of really good use. For the recovery settings certainly are a great thing. And I think people are better served to use that kind of stim recovery or soft tissue therapy like Graston, active release, massage in the course of their normal training, because that stuff actually promotes inflammation, localized inflammation, where the body inflammation is a very powerful adaptation
I'm a big
signal.
promoter of inflammation as well. You've seen the way I've been eating the last couple of days. Something inflammatory is going to happen.
Where inflammation is a really powerful adaptation signal to the body, so the body is going to recognize that inflammation that needs to repair and adapt that specific area.
A little bit of the idea against ice, right? People
Exactly.
say ice because it gets rid of inflammation, but maybe your body knows what the fuck it's doing, and it's causing inflammation for a reason.
Exactly. So I think that stuff is better, stem, soft tissue therapy, better to use in the course of normal training weeks as opposed to cold therapy, because the cold therapy artificially removes the inflammation. It's going to dampen the adaptation signal and then dampen the training effect. Granted, we're talking about 1% difference or 2% difference, but it all adds up over time, especially when you try to be really
ice
strong.
might be good if there's some swelling, right? Like if you something swelled up and your knee swells up for whatever reason, or your elbow or something like that.
Like a twist or strain?
Would ice be decent in that situation?
Not being like a PT or anything, I'm reticent to say that it would be and I'm not going to say it's bad. Certainly, it will still have those adaptation effects with the inflammation.
Right.
If it's gonna make you feel better in the short term, that's definitely got a positive quality to it, and it will definitely do that.
Kind of like your chocolate milk.
Same with some of those creams or whatever. Like, yeah, it's probably not getting rid of a strain, but you throw like a weird icy hot on it. It makes you feel better for a day. Maybe it's worth it.
Yeah. I think the only thing to be mindful of with, those sort of therapeutic creams or painkillers, whatever, if you're still going to go and train while you're using those, like, pain can be a useful thing in training to stop you from getting
survival.
injured.
Yeah, it's just the same thing you're saying about inflammation. It's like, in the medical world, they want to try to get ahead of inflammation. They want to try to get ahead of pain, and so they overdose you on anti-inflammatories and painkillers. And in the training process, you're saying you just need that feedback.
Yeah, I mean, the feedback of pain to avoid getting injured, because if there's pain that should be existing but doesn't because of whatever pills, and then you still train through it, and then the pills wear off, and you're like, holy shit, my shoulder or knee or pec or whatever hurts. Yeah, you could have actually done a detriment to yourself. But with the recovery stuff, I just encourage people to use the cold therapy and things like that remove inflammation, to save that all for a deload week or time right before competition, when they're not trying to adapt anymore. They're just trying to feel good.
You have wonderful blue eyes. Did I ever tell you that before?
They're really icy.
A few people have told me that.
Yeah, and the fat pockets underneath them are quite sexy.
I think they make me look very jolly.
That's a perfect time of year to be jolly.
You're going to be part-time Santa Claus?
Yeah.
I found on Instagram, I think, the world's most jacked Santa Claus. I think he maybe commented on some of our shit. Maybe I don't know. Sometimes I read shit and then I watch shit. I'm on my
Mike
phone
basically
too much.
has no
I make
idea
up
what he's
stories,
talking
yeah,
about.
sometimes. But I think he commented on some shit. Maybe a podcast or something. But he's the world's most jacked Santa, or like that's his goal. So he looks like Santa, but he fucking works out hella hard. Yeah, Google world's most jacked Santa. There's going to be some weird shit that pops up, but
He's commented on our stuff?
I think so. And I think he's self-proclaimed the world's most jacked Santa, So who knows what we may find here on fucking... Why does The Rock pop up?
This guy?
That guy's really jacked, and maybe
This guy?
I don't remember. It was
Yeah,
one
maybe.
Instagram clip.
This guy is the
is that
same.
Brett Favre in the
Bottom right, it is.
It is, yeah. It's the beard, I think, because he looks like Santa too.
Yeah,
doesn't
it
he?
might be that guy that you had your...
Yeah, there's like 3 that are the same right now. I think
The guy with
top
the selfie.
2. Yeah.
Try that.
I think both of those. That guy's jacked, man.
Yeah, he is.
Does he have a Instagram or something? If senior citizens get a pump, that guy's fucking jacked.
I'm so nervous clicking this.
I'm into it.
I don't have anything.
I'm into it. These websites are awesome.
Something really bad's gonna happen all of us by watching this.
Jesus Christ.
He does look pretty yoked though.
No, that guy's great. Oh my God, what is that lady doing? She's a b-boy.
Nice.
She's doing some, I don't know what that is. It's a yoga pose.
Whoever invented the internet is very smart.
Oh yeah, it was
Al Gore, I think.
Al Gore. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Thanks, Al. He's also
Dude, yeah, he's jacked.
Yeah.
That was.
I wonder if he does dress up as Santa. The guy I clicked on, I think it was Instagram, actually like does Santa in the winter.
Are you sure that this wasn't like a
It is a fantasy.
dream that you were having?
Yeah,
It
your
could've been
face was on that body.
It could have been a dream for sure. What else you use for recovery, Mr. Smith?
Really uncomfortable.
Shakes?
Yeah, I mean, food and sleep, of course, are going to be the biggest things that impact it. Getting 7-8 hours.
Even though koalas get 20.
You sleep
Koalas do tend to sleep 16 to 20 hours a
sleeping
day.
by yourself or sleeping with a significant other or
He's
what are we
digging
talking
in.
about here?
He's
Yeah,
digging in.
yeah.
Yeah, which way helps more?
Yeah, I just
what
saw an
about-
interview with Kirill where he said no drinking, no smoking, no sex the entire training cycle. What do you think about stuff like
Well,
that?
what's a training cycle? A week?
I mean,
12
I don't want to
weeks?
get in that fucking guy's way. He seems like a loaded gun.
There is a lot of sports science supporting the idea of compassionate touching, which
Like blue balls?
Write that down, Mike.
could be part of it.
So building up blue balls the week of the meet. Got it. CSW quoted.
We're going to call this episode
You guys keep calling me
Compassionate
CSW.
Touching.
He made it up.
CSW.
It's a nickname of your nickname. It's good.
Okay. But yeah, that compassionate touching is very important to recovery as well. That could be a lady friend,
Yeah.
Could be a dude friend.
a man friend.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It could be massage stuff. Like if you're really lonely, it could be like cuddling with your dog or something.
Is that with the happy ending or no happy ending?
I'm not sure what level of compassion is the best for recovery.
Because there's a lot of still talk. I watched The View. You can judge me all you want. I like The View. I wake up. I do a bunch
I
of.
judged you before this.
Yeah,
view,
yeah.
the
There's
view
nothing
stuff.
changed. There's Jesus Christ on our thing here. There's no judgments in this room. I wake up, I bang out emails, I sip some coffee, and by 10 o'clock, I'm done with most of my emails, so I go to The View, clearly, where I learn anything about the world. And they were still talking about sex before games or competition. You know, like, that's an old school thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
football, Mark.
Weekend legs.
Right, yeah, you don't weaken legs. And,
It's in Creed.
oh, really?
Rocky says that he doesn't
Yeah.
say the whole line, though.
Candace Cameron or whatever, the chick from Full House.
What's with this pet shop dame?
Chris,
I really like her.
Right? She,
Kirk Cameron's wife.
yeah. So she's a hockey player's wife,
Oh, okay.
right?
No.
I think that's her cousin. I think Candace Cameron married a hockey player.
Oh, okay. Kirk Cameron is her brother.
Yeah, her cousin or some shit.
Okay.
Anyway, so pro NHL guy, pretty good. And she said for 12 years they never fucked on.
Oh yeah, she's married to Pavel Bure.
There you go. I know nothing about hockey.
I don't know why I know that, but
Fun fact.
a lot of space in this head. Gotta fill it up with something.
Yeah, so for
huge
82
head.
games a year, 12 years of marriage, they never fucked.
I know, Sports Science on ESPN, or
Yeah, I watched that too. Houston
Yeah.
Alexander.
yeah, they had one with him. And
Supposed to be a little agitated. Is that the kind of the?
Houston Alexander fucked. They did like a power test and a couple other tests. One day, whatever, no sex, and then the next day, like 6 hours after he
Sex?
Yeah, 6 hours straight of sex. That might tire you out, regardless.
Do
But
they
Yeah.
film all this?
yeah, no, the filming was hilarious.
In
he
space.
Like, he's like knocking on the door of his own hotel or something weird, and then he goes in with his girlfriend, and it just says like 6 hours later, and then he's in the gym again, like boxing.
yeah, they tested him, and he actually had higher testosterone levels after.
Yeah.
So I think it would be more of an issue of
Well,
how,
probably because she was injecting him.
Yeah, he's jacked in that.
Yeah,
in that thing.
I think it was more of an issue of like how each party is participating.
Oh, so you got to be on bottom, is what
yeah,
you're saying.
if you just lay there, then you get higher test levels. If you're doing too much work, then you're worn out. So
Is test levels within the day even that important for power output?
I don't know, but if I had to choose between higher and lower levels,
Yeah, you
I'm
go
going to
higher.
take higher.
Yeah. Where's
Take the
Houston
high
Alexander? Oh. But the low road in the bed. You just lay down.
I guess.
All right,
Wow.
ladies and gentlemen, that's it from CSW.
Yeah,
Sex before you lift.
What else you use for recovery? I know, like in your programming, you have a week off. You kind of a deload week. But is there anything else? Are you into compression? Are you into anything you do like immediately after a training session or before a training session that helps?
Yeah, the stuff right around training is just sleeping and eating. The only other things I do during the course of normal training are, getting massage, usually usually get like a regular massage every other week, and then Graston and active release therapy.
What's your massage called? A fatso massage?
Yeah, it's like a shiatsu, but
A slightly different
heavier.
twist. Fatso, okay.
Yeah.
Write that down, Mike.
But heavier.
Heavier.
I'll get active release in Graston 1 to 2 times a week, and it's tough to kind of stay ahead of the areas that are feeling beat up. It's like for me to get massage therapy on my quads, that's like 30 or 40 minutes each leg.
Right.
And there's only so many hours in the day.
What if you get like 3 people doing it?
You know, I
6-hand massage.
Yeah.
I look forward to the day where that happens.
Yeah.
I have like a right side therapist.
Today's your
There
day.
could possibly be a reason why the Juggernaut athletes are all female.
Right side therapist.
You
left
guys ever
side
notice
therapist.
that?
Yeah. I'll pay
he have
for all
one
of your
male?
masseuse school.
Does he have does he have one male athlete?
You're looking at him.
That's right. There you go. That's all you need, right?
We need massage androids. That's what we need.
Oh, that's getting
Yeah.
freaky.
Yeah.
I bet C-3PO would give it a hell of a happy ending.
You guys ever watch
Talk about massage envy.
Tin Man hand job.
You watch Archer?
No,
Yes.
a long time ago.
Yeah, Krieger.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely has massage androids. I
Yes. Yes.
think. All kinds of
This
androids.
is how we get ants.
Have you ever been massaged by a professional strongman athlete before?
No, but Ed Cohen did give me some pec shoulder therapy.
And
in
it felt
Australia
amazing,
the other
probably,
week.
right?
Well, the man has very strong hands.
Did
Yeah,
he
had-
choke you too? Because he's famous for that as well.
You know, Ed and I have gotten to the point in our relationship where he doesn't beat me up
Anymore.
Yeah, he used to. Like he'd be like, "Chad, act like you're trying to stab me."
No. Slow it down a little slower. Right like that.
Other hand.
Yeah.
In the butt. Stab me in the butt.
Not here, and then he would like block it and like punch.
Watch how hard I can kick you in the face from this position. No.
Yeah, then he's
How
blocked.
about
No,
we?
Mark egged him on. First he does all that shit, and then Mark's like, let's do it for a photo shoot. Here, go hit Mike. Like, what the fuck? Now there's pictures of me fucking dodging and dying.
Yeah, Mike ran out of the room.
Yeah,
Tried to sick him on him.
one of the Australian guys let him just punch him right in the side of the face. Like, it was like an honor.
Yeah, they probably loved it. Just knock my ass out cold.
That's like Jardine. Jardine's just middle of the podcast, just give him to me lightly and just jaw on the shoulder. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? It's like, you've knocked out large men. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, he's pouncing on you the whole time. It was great.
But yeah, sleeping, eating, massage, Graston, active release, and then the week of competition, usually about 10 days out, I'll start doing contrast shower every single day. It's like 3 minutes hot, 1 minute cold for 3 rounds, so 12 minutes total.
Talk about shrinkage. You know.
But it's 3 minutes hot, so it balances out.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't think that works, does it?
No, heat doesn't really
No, it doesn't
necessarily
make
make
it
it any
bigger.
bigger.
It'll
It makes
defrost it.
less small.
If heat worked, I'd be cranking the
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be 150
That's
degrees.
why
in there.
doesn't that work? We need a scientist on this.
know.
If you go cold water, you're done. You're done for. But if you go hot water, it's just normal.
It shrinks? That classic episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah, the shrinkage.
shrinkage.
So you just got a PR in your last meet. You did a 970 squat and almost hit a 992, right?
Yeah, got a squat PR, deadlift PR, total PR. So I competed 2.5 weeks ago, Pro Raw 7 in Melbourne, Australia. So I got to travel down there. Really cool competition.
Did you drive or fly?
Swam.
You swam,
I
okay.
swam. It's a good warm up.
Yeah. Get the shoulders warmed up. That's
Yeah.
why your bench was down a little bit. You did the backstroke all the way there.
And
What are we looking at?
I'm trying to find your most Jack Santa. I'm not even getting anywhere. Oh, maybe this guy?
but yeah, really good competition down there. They set it up a little bit differently. It's actually, I guess, technically an unsanctioned meet, but
So your shit didn't count?
yeah. Well, I also had slingshot stuff on. So
Oh, it never counts.
yeah, multiply slingshot cuffs, and so they only have 5 men's weight classes, 3 women's weight classes. So it becomes very competitive, because people aren't spread out so much. So I got to go head to head with Odo Manuel. He's from New Zealand, but now lives in Australia. He was a professional rugby player.
Yeah, beast of a dude.
Yeah, so we came into the meet, exact same PR total, 23:14, 1,050 kilos. He had a phenomenal day, totaled 1075, which I think is now the 5th highest total of all time.
Jesus.
It's 3rd highest ever at super heavyweight.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And majority of people listening probably don't know who he is.
Yeah, well, they'll know soon enough.
Yeah. But he's been lifting big weights for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he first pulled
And
400.
he looks jacked as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 5'9", probably 5'11", 335.
What?
I can relate.
Carries it pretty well. He was a professional rugby player for 8 or 10 years, and then lifted in the IPF for a good number of years. But when he was playing rugby, he was maybe 210, 215.
So you saying I have a chance?
If you were Samoan, then yeah. And now he's up, 330 or he's Maori, I guess, same kind of thing. But sorry, Maori people, if you're listening, I know it's not the same. And he had a great day. I had a good day that was almost a great day. So squatted 970, which is a 5 kilo, 11 pound PR. Lost my balance with 992.
But came up pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I never missed a squat like that. Maybe 3 inches from lockout, just kind of got too far back on my heels, took a step backwards, so no lift there.
The great Eddie Cohen says, if you do it long enough, everything will happen to you. Like he said, he bombed in like all three lifts and had every possible thing happen to him at one point or another. So
yeah, I've been having some shoulder problems related to my squat setup. I get my hands pretty close in for a big guy in the low bar squat, so it kind of hurt my AC joint during the squat, which unfortunately affected my bench a lot. So I ended up only making my opener, which was 540, and I jumped to 573, missed it twice. Should have gone to 562. I think I would have made that, but very frustrating coming off the best bench training cycle I've ever had, bench 560 in training. And
normally you do that much better in the meet, right?
Yeah, my last 3 meets, I had benched about 35 to 40 pounds more in the meet than I had in training. So I was thinking 573 on the second, 584, 589 on the third, maybe even 595, but shoulder just wasn't going to allow that to happen. Then pulled 815 for a 5 pound, 2.5 kilo deadlift PR. And
deadlift bar though, right? Cheating again?
Yes.
Cheating again.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes this podcast today.
But in training, I pulled 815 on the Alico bar. And
like a real lifter.
Real USA field guy over here. So I ended up passing my third deadlift just because felt some stuff in my hamstring on the second and knew I wasn't going to be able to pass.
Everything just fucking hurt at that point.
Yeah, wasn't going to be able to beat Odell, so it was better to just walk away with the 5 kilo total PR and live to lift another day.
To go hang out with koalas.
When was your first powerlifting meet? How long ago was it?
Just over 5 years ago, October 2010.
Since that time, how many meets have you gone to and not walked away with some sort of PR?
Oh, man, that's a good question.
Maybe a couple in the beginning, huh?
Yeah, definitely, because my second meet ever, I told 2165 at 308, and I did not hit a total PR. That was March 2011. I didn't hit a total PR until May 2013.
You were on the shelf for a little bit or two, right?
No.
Elf on the shelf?
Got injured right after the PR.
Okay.
In between, competed in strongman some. Still got squat PR at 905 at 308 in there, and 2.5 kilo or like a 3 pound deadlift PR or something. Right. So a couple little ones in there, but since then it's been back to your meet last June. Was my first meet back from the back injury. Did 2248, squatted 937. Then went squat 959, told 2314. Then did a meet in sleeves with a bench PR and a deadlift PR, and then here we had squat deadlift total PR.
Right. Yeah, it just seems like over the last maybe 2 years or so that every contest you're going to, you're walking away with a PR, which is pretty amazing when you're already top 10, top 5. I don't know where you're at exactly total wise. Probably top 5, maybe.
No, well, I think it's maybe 6th at super heavyweight and 9th overall.
Yeah. That's insanely impressive, and then to continue to make progress. So how is that happening? What have you discovered in your training? What have you discovered about yourself that's allowing you to still make progress?
Yeah, there's other guys in the top 10 that are hit or miss, right? They'll go like 2,200, then they'll go 2,000, then they'll go 2,300, then they'll go 2,100.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's anything that I can do really well, it is, program and have a really good understanding of what works in general, but specifically what works for me. And that, just kind of looking at things more incrementally and knowing that if I'm 10 pounds ahead in training compared to last training cycle, then I'm going to be at least 10 pounds ahead in the meet.
Right.
And over the course of 4 or 5 months, 10 pounds is not much to really come up with. And it's just, laying out the plan and working that plan consistently, even though there may be days where I could go up and hit a 25-pound PR, but a 5-pound PR is the plan. We just stick with that 5 or 10-pound PR.
Right.
Some people talk about that like lifting like a Russian, yeah? Maybe heard that term. Maybe it's not even a term. Maybe it's just within our circle. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you just made that
yeah,
up.
maybe. No, I've heard other people say it, but it might just be our circle. You know, just like being a little smarter, being a little more reserved. You don't have to bash your head through a wall to fucking pull max effort every single week.
Yeah, definitely. And that's an idea I talk about a lot is building, not testing. That if I went a 12-week training cycle or a 16-week training cycle and hit 0 PRs in it, but that resulted in a big PR at the meet, I'd rather have that one great day of competition than 50 good days of training.
Right.
But that's a mindset too, because a lot of people are driven by the PRs every week, and if you're driven by the quality of training that's not associated with a PR, you're probably going to be able to hang in a lot longer with that kind of approach.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like delayed gratification a little bit, and it might not get as many Instagram likes or as many YouTube subscribers that I'm not PR all the time, or like these crazy big sets to failure or something, but just work the plan. And if you want to be a competitive powerlifter, it's about the competition, the meet, not about the training.
Yeah, you're squatting nearly 1,000 pounds now, and if you do a training cycle before you get back in your knee wraps and stuff, and you're handling high 6s and mid 7s and stuff for multiple reps and multiple sets, it might kind of seem like, to your average lifter who's just kind of getting involved in it, it might seem like a boring workout. Like, they're like, man, well, if I only used, the same percentage that Chad's using to his 1,000-pound squat, your strength's right around that area, it might be kind of a boring workout, but it seemed to be working really well for you because you're getting in, like Jim was saying, a lot of quality, and you're kind of taking pride in that rather than taking pride in, hey, motherfucker, I did another 10 pounds or whatever,
Yeah, I think it definitely is, learning to enjoy the process of it. And I enjoy the challenge of programming and how to manipulate the work for these last, 1, 2, 3% that I'm going to be able to squeeze out of these numbers. And that, going, a lot of times the training is kind of boring. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't, but I'm okay with being bored for 12 weeks to be so pumped about one day's meet performance, and that's just kind of a trade-off that you have to make.
Yeah, we've talked about this maybe even with you here, but there's I guess kind of a split still in the powerlifting world of if you should hit lifts in the meet that you've already hit in the gym, or if you should PR in a meet. I think most people at this table are more into your style, I believe, training harder or training smarter, so then you can PR and hit bigger lifts at the meet, at least maybe second, third attempts at the meet. Maybe should be something you haven't touched before.
Yeah, like my squat training this time around, I squatted 915 in training, which was like a 40-pound gym PR. Granted, it was 40 pounds more than my best squat in the gym in sleeves. My gym PR was in sleeves, not in wraps. And but I squatted 915 in training, and my opener at the meet was 909. So I went 909, 970 on the second. And people always ask, like, how do you suggest taking attempts? What should I take as my opener? And I was like, do as I say, not as I do, because no one's going to think it's a good idea that if your gym PR is 915, that you're going to take 970 on the second.
Right. But you kind of know where your strength's at. So
yeah, that, and I'm very confident in the way that my peak is set up, the mindset that I bring into competition, and a lot of it, it's become my expectation now that if I can do this much in training,
it's just knowing yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to do 5 or 7% more in the meet, and that's a good second attempt for me. Is something I expect to do in the meet.
Yo, training with Jeremy Hamilton, he's coaching me, is kind of similar too. The heaviest weight I touched is 540 in this training cycle, but I'm going to touch maybe 560, 570 on my second attempt. Right, something similar where it was a triple. It was fast. You train really fast. If people do follow you on Instagram or YouTube, like all your lifts are clean and fast. You're not grinding any reps except maybe your last week into the meet.
Yeah, and this training cycle I actually didn't follow my own advice. Maybe two different times I got kind of greedy on days that I felt really good. I had a day where I squatted 870 and I was planning to go to 904 on the next squat. And I was like, man, 870 felt easy. And I was looking at the weights and I was like, this 15 kilo one, that seems good. So put 30 kilos more on the bar. I went to 937 and missed it really high, but I still don't like to ever miss ever, especially in training. Well, I guess especially ever. But And it had the same thing on a bench day where I felt great. Did 545, which was the plan, and then jumped to 565 and missed it. And when you have those days, I would have been so much better off to just walk away with 545 or walk away with 555 as a make, or go to 904 and smoke it and be like, oh man, I could have done 950 today, or I could have done.
Yeah, how much of that do you think is physical compared to mental? Like missing. How much does it fuck you up mentally, and how much does it fuck you up physically?
Yeah, I think it's probably more of a mental issue. Physical is going to become if like you really grind on it and then miss. Where I'm kind of, my squat misses are like I just get a little out of position, my hips will shoot back, and it's very quick. It's like fires out of the hole, stop. All right, we missed it. But I say if you make every lift in training, what are you thinking every time you get into the bar? That you're going to make it because that's all you know how to do.
Right.
And that's a hugely powerful mental thing.
Speaking of mental part, though, like we're all talking about taking weights that in a meet that you've never taken in the gym before, and a lot of people have trouble with the idea of handling a weight like under the most stress that they've never touched before. We talk about the future method, putting overload, putting more
reverse
weight
band or something.
Yeah, like that. And like how somebody who's actually got that fear, how would you tell them to overcome that?
Yeah, I think mechanical overload tools like that can definitely be useful. And that could be reverse bands, slingshot, walk out and hold is one that I suggest for a lot of people in the squat. I'm coaching Brandon Allen right now and getting him ready for LA Fit
That guy's a
Expo.
monster.
Yeah.
And maybe there might be some application to give somebody a little bit of a spot here and there, right? Like you got a newer lifter and you want to give them a little confidence, and obviously you don't want them to think that that's their normal strength, but just to get them confident, they get over that 3-plate or 4-plate barrier, whatever their barrier is.
Yeah, I think the only tough thing about the spot with it is it's hard for the spotter to know, okay, I helped you 10 pounds on that.
Right.
Where the bands and stuff is going to be more consistent.
Right.
But so what we're doing with Brandon right now is a big change from his normal training, where he's usually just hitting the lifts once a week and is like alternating heavy, light each week. That we've been doing a lot more volume, a lot of the same kind of style stuff we did with Mark. And I think the most he squatted so far is 815 for a double, and this week, maybe today or tomorrow or Friday, he'll probably do like 835 for a double, 840 for a double. We're looking for him to squat 909 at the meet. So last week he did his first walkout and hold, and he did 925. And just getting him accustomed to the weights, and the way that I like to have people do the walkout and holds is no belt, no wraps, to make it feel as bad as possible in training.
That's going to be hard.
Yeah, but so he takes that 925 out with no belt and no wraps, and in a week where he's kind of run down from the volume, and it's going to feel terrible. And I want it to feel terrible, because when we get to the meet and we're peaked and we have belt and wraps on, and he takes 909 out, it's going to feel, I won't say it's going to feel light, but it's going to feel lighter than he was expecting.
Better than it did in training.
There's some evidence of that helping not only mentally with reverse band, slingshot, and walkouts, but physically too. Yeah, super maximal loading in certain percentages, and I think 102 or 105 or some bullshit.
Yeah, definitely there is a physiological benefit to it. I think the psychological is just as big, if not bigger. I think something where people make the mistake is thinking that more overload is necessarily better.
Right.
I think about a 10% cutoff, like 110% of their max, is completely sufficient. To give them all the overload stimulus they need, but without just destroying their nervous system and their joints for the subsequent training sessions, because training doesn't happen in a vacuum. What we do today affects tomorrow, affects the next day,
Happens
affects the
in my
next
closet.
And doing it 16 weeks out may not be the best idea. Yeah, when we talk about the slingshot all the time, like use that bitch for some reps, like do it for some drop sets. You could do it for your close grip if close grip hurts your shoulders to get in more volume. You don't need to touch a max 1 in a slingshot every single training session.
Yeah, I think that probably the way that I use the slingshot the most, well, 2 ways. On my heavy on my heavy bench days, I'll work up to my heavy triple or double or single raw, and then add the slingshot on and do a overload triple or double or single. And a lot of times when my shoulder's feeling beat up or my elbows hurt, I'll just put the same weights on that I planned to do for that session, but just do them with the slingshot. I have like a 6-year-old original red slingshot, so it's probably not giving me that much pop anymore. But that's fine with me, because I just want to, a little bit less stress on those joints as I go.
Yeah, not hurt.
It's still going to track you in the right position regardless of how much it's giving you, too. So,
Yeah, maybe newer athletes, you have them, maybe kind of hit some of the numbers that you want them to hit on the platform in the gym, just because it's all so pretty foreign to them. So maybe they say a certain amount of weeks out, maybe they do a squat as you would perform it in a contest, walked out, waiting for a signal to squat, waiting, squatting the proper depth and then getting a rack command, and then same thing in bench press and so on.
Yeah, I think for less experienced lifters, it's going to be a lot harder for them to take weights in the meet that are so far over what they've done in training. So they're probably going to need to either do more mechanical overload work or just train closer to the percentages, just because it takes a while of competing, and this is going to vary person to person on just how they mentally respond to it. But to take that energy of the meet,
Right.
and make it the difference between that nervous energy being a positive effect form or a negative effect form.
You think some of that's inherent? We talk about gamers in NFL or NBA or basketball or whatever, high school, people just suck in practice, but then game time comes and they're fucking studs. You think that some of that just, you're born with it in powerlifting even?
I don't know that you're born with it, but it's definitely being created probably before anyone does their first meet. That if your parents always patted you on the back and said, good job, you probably have like better self-esteem or more confident about it. So I came up through my athletic career, I'd always throw the shot put farther in meets than I did in training. That started when I was 8 years old. Did it from when I was 8 to when I was 24, and it pretty much always happened.
Yeah.
So it became my expectation.
It's a good lesson. I mean, you have positive experiences. It's going to make everything more positive, make everything easier. When you were a kid and you were throwing, you're probably throwing a couple feet further than a lot of the other kids. And then once you got to more into it and you got to like national stuff, then maybe there was some guys who were like, okay, shit's starting to get pretty serious, But
yeah,
but before you ever got to that national stage, you had a great feeling about it. You're like, man, this is great. I'm learning a little bit of technique. I'm starting to lift some weights, and I'm just murdering people. This is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's something important to understand too with individual sports, throwing, powerlifting, weightlifting, that staying inside yourself and focusing on your own performance is so important, because now with social media, it's easy to get caught up and look on Instagram and see the guy who you're going to be lifting against. Oh man, he just hit this PR, he hit that PR, he's lifting this much. I got to do more, I got to do more,
People
I got to
are
do more.
terrified of Mike's dance moves, for example. Everybody's been working on their dance moves for this USAPL meet.
No one has ever danced since they saw me dance. They just all retired. I don't blame them.
You've ruined dancing for everyone. I think that sometimes when I see Milanchev squat, I was like, what's the point anymore?
Yeah.
But I don't even want to post this video anymore. But
also ran.
yeah, it's like, staying inside of yourself and focusing on your own performance, because if someone else is out there hitting PR, that's great, and it might motivate you to work a little bit harder, but you don't want to change your plan and get so caught up in that, because you can only lift the weights that you can lift.
That's where it differs from other sports, maybe.
Yeah, like you can hit a PR and have a great meet and lose, because if that person's stronger than you, they're just stronger than you. And of course, I'm very competitive and I want to win, and Odell Manuel beat me at that meet, and that bothers me. Did I hit a PR? Yeah. Am I that pumped about hitting that PR? Not really. If I would have hit that same PR and won, exact same weights, I would have felt a little bit better at it. But
at the same time, if you did everything you absolutely could, and you did like you had just an astronomical day, you went 9 for 9, you hit every lift that you planned for and everything, and then he still beat you.
Yeah.
You would still you'd probably be more satisfied because you didn't fall short anywhere.
Definitely.
You did absolute best you could. It's kind of like Milanichev. Like, he's just in a different position than everybody else.
That's where competitiveness in powerlifting gets a little weird to me. Like, I'm competitive, I want to do well, but I'm not competitive against other people just because it's not the same. Like, if we're playing football against each other, and on paper you guys are 12-0, you have a way better roster, my team's 6-6, but we fucking beat you, then I'm fucking stoked.
Yeah.
But if I go and pull 660 this weekend, I'm not going to be that stoked. Like, I know I've done the work to pull 660. Like, it's just supposed to happen.
Yeah, and that is, football, basketball, like, there's only one winner to every game, and not to be, like, sappy participation ribbon here, but, like, powerlifting meet, if you hit PRs.
Yeah, you did your job.
Yeah, you did what you could do. If someone's just better than you, so be it sometimes.
To roll it back to what you said earlier, I think that definitely there are people who are just game day people who can have a really shitty training cycle and go in and have a great meet, just because they know how to compete and their mind just works better that way for whatever reason. But something we see a fair amount in powerlifting is that people commit to a meet, and if their training cycle's not going well and they think they're not going to PR, they just bail. What do you think?
I mean, once you're committed to it, as far as pulling out of the meet, if you get hurt or something, or if it's just things go wrong, then I think it's okay to pull out of the meet. You don't want to do it if you're beat up just for the sake of doing it. But I also think that people could kind of fall into that trap of always pulling out, because it's never going to go perfect.
You find a reason for your or an excuse for you to do bad.
Yeah,
well, and also a good sign of a real powerlifter is people I think they lose focus, that you are going after a total. And you don't have to necessarily have a spectacular day to have a PR total. You can chip away at it as you move along, and when the end of the day comes, if you can probably hit a certain deadlift and still end up with a PR. You don't have to set the world on fire with your squat and bench and everything else.
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of take what the day gives you. That maybe you wanted to squat 600, but 584 is the most that was there, and instead of jumping 560 to 600 and missing and kind of screwing your total, take the 584 and build on the day.
Right.
But real quick, to touch back on the gamers idea, I think it's totally true. And the more positive experiences you can give yourself in the lead up to the competition, the better you're going to feel about having positive energy going into the meet.
Right.
And
so don't miss your fucking lifts.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with training and not training. Like I grew up in a little bit maybe different culture than powerlifting and basketball, but like every game day, like you're getting a fucking haircut. Every game day, I'm laying my fucking dope socks, my lucky draws, like everything laid out. I have shoes for my away games. I have shoes for my home games.
Feel good.
We used to watch Space Jam before big games, just as like a funny thing, Like we're a bunch of 18-year-olds at my dad's house watching fucking Space Jam, but then we never lost watching Space Jam. So what do? We watch fucking Space Jam all the time, and like. Whatever it is for you, like look good, feel good, play good. Like I live by that. I just got my hair cut, like everything's got to be perfect for me to feel good on that day. But maybe for some more powerlifting people, it's just your training. Training goes good, you do good. Maybe it's fucking, I think Ryan Spencer, one of our 165 lifters, like drinks a Guinness every night before. Like whatever it is to get you in that mindset.
Might have a special meal that you like or whatever.
Might have a happy ending before Houston Alexander.
Yeah, I think stuff like that can be really good. The last thing I wanted to say, I guess, about being a gamer, the more practice you get in competition, the better and more positive experiences you have with it, the more likely that competition energy is going to be used positively for you rather than overwhelm you with nervousness or anything. But stuff like that, little routine kind of things, I just tell people you got to control what you can control. Don't worry about what you can't. Like you can control getting your hair cut. You can control what socks you wear, what meal you eat, that sort of stuff. But if you have, I just like this bar, I need this song playing, like that stuff you don't get to control at a meet. So if you become reliant on it and then the song you don't like plays at the meet, what are you going to do? You're going to go home like...
I came in like a wrecking ball.
You have that queued up for me, right?
Yeah. Ready, yeah.
You just walk up to the platform with like a boombox on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Mark could be
smart.
Yeah, Mark could be your hype man, just
the old school.
He's not allowed in the room, actually.
Say anything.
Yeah, just hold it above your head, say anything style.
My bikini girl with my total on it.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to that? Why do they do that in Russia and not here?
Sometimes they're topless.
I don't know about that, but I would like that.
No, they are, right?
When Milenchev squatted 992 for the first time, they had the ring card girl
Topless.
walk out with what weight was on the bar, and she was topless. Yeah.
They should just write it on her naked.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I'm starting my own federation.
That's amazing. How'd that happen?
Let's get Hugh Hefner involved.
So let's talk about your book. Your book is about how to be fat and how to pick up hot chicks, right?
Yeah, that's the bonus section. So that's when
I thought that was like the entire basis of the whole book.
The boner bonus.
The boner, yeah.
That's when you know you're really strong. If you can be this fat and still have a hot girlfriend.
What were you saying? You're fat to what was the ratio you gave me?
Just like a fatness to hot girlfriendness ratio.
Yeah. He said it's like an all-time high.
Yeah.
It's a PR.
But I'd like to think of myself more as fuscular than as fat.
You are.
Which
you
I'm
are
not
muscular.
A
little bit of fat, a little bit of muscular.
I thought I meant fucking muscular.
Yeah.
Fat jacked is the other one we use a lot.
Fact.
Fat jacked.
Yeah.
Fat jacked.
Jet. I just want to combine the words. But new book is called Juggernaut Training: A Thoughtful Pursuit of Strength. And
that cuts out a whole lot of people.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you're thinking about it.
I do the thinking for you. Yeah, and it's really, it's been 3 years since I released Juggernaut Method 2, 5 years since the first one.
This is really just a ploy to make money, right?
Big man's got to eat.
All right, okay. I just wanted to make sure. There's not a lot of useful information in the book, right? Just want to make sure everybody understands.
Yeah, and I purposely didn't call it Juggernaut Method 3.0 because it's so much more than any of the other ones were. Just in the 3 years since I wrote Juggernaut Method 2.0, I had won my pro strongman card, competed as a pro, added almost 200 pounds to my powerlifting total, rehabbed 2 herniated discs, sent 30 guys off to play college football, trained, I think I have top 5 lifters right now in super heavyweight, 165s, 242s, 308s, 114s, American record totals in some of those. It's just so much more knowledge, and probably coached 1,000 people, something like that, at seminars across the world.
Right.
Seen so many more problems that lifters have and understood how to fix them. It's just really a reflection of all that growth of knowledge. Talking to guys like Dr. Mike Israetel, Dr. Quinn Hennock, all these really great minds in maybe a little bit different fields, weightlifting, sports science.
Your travel
mobility.
must have helped you quite a bit with the knowledge you acquired, because you're going. Well, now you've been going over to Australia a little bit, and you've been all over the United States competing and stuff. How has that impacted some of the knowledge you've gained?
Yeah, I mean, just the more people who are passionate about what they do that you get to expose yourself to and who are experts in their field, the better.
Expose yourself to. Hey now, Chad.
Have them expose themselves to you, whichever way.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's been great. And I've gotten to go and speak in Ireland and England, Australia 2 times now, and just the more people you get to talk to, it's not expose yourself to. We're going to be
a little inappropriate.
We're going to be all professional on this PowerCast now. aren't we?
Rated PG.
Well, sometimes all it takes is somebody saying something that you already know in different words to give you better insight about it.
Definitely, and that's a big thing with coaching and cueing. There's many roads to the same destination, and just giving that different cue or understanding how to explain it a different way, it's going to click well for different people. And I think in the last 3 years, I've just heard so many different ways and learned them for myself, and just understood everything so much better. I think it's a huge, huge improvement on the previous books, that I have way more knowledge as a coach, as an athlete. I'm very proud of it, and it just came out. I don't know what day this will air, but it just came out this morning.
Next Wednesday.
Okay, so we'll have been out for a week, and it also comes with 7 programs, has a 75-minute lecture about peak program design, and it's pretty
cool.
good. I mean, it put 22 pounds on your bench in 3 months.
And 22 pounds on his face.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, when you were setting out some of the numbers for me, like when I looked at them, ahead of time, I was like, I don't know if I can. I kind of didn't know where I was going to be at strength-wise, and I kind of thought, some of those numbers weren't going to happen. And then when it came around to do them, they were actually all quite easy, really. I mean, most of them flew up pretty good, so.
Yeah, you put people through.
Shit worked.
That's because I believe in you, Mark.
Oh.
Yeah, you put through people through a lot of. He just got really gay. Through a lot of volume. I ran, just a sample program of yours for my squat maybe a year ago or so, and I was dieting at the time too, and I still gained some strength. It's just well thought out, well planned.
Yeah, volume. People are scared to turn up the volume sometimes, but it works. That's
Pump
probably.
it up.
We'll turn it up on our Adele and our squats.
But yeah,
Hello.
it's probably the most important thing to building strength and building size.
And practicing.
Definitely. I think the only thing that I often see people running off course with when it comes to volume is timing the volume compared to competition, that they're doing too much volume too close to competition. They're not cutting that down and able to decay their fatigue before they compete, so they just go in a little fatigued to the meet.
Yeah, 4 weeks out, start cutting some stuff back.
Yeah, it's the things that's really going to depend on is the size, strength, and experience of the lifter. bigger, stronger, more experienced lifters are going to have to cut the volume out earlier because it just takes longer for them to decay their fatigue. They have more muscle.
We've
mass
talked
that
about
needs
this
to
a little bit
repair.
last time when you were on the podcast, how it's not really relative. You know, like there's nothing really all that relative to a 1,000-pound squat. You squat 1,000 pounds, and if my max is 500 pounds, even though it's both of our maxes, 500 pounds registers in your body a lot different than 1,000 pounds does.
Definitely, the absolute weight has to be considered, but that's kind of accounted for in the other factors. Like if you're a really experienced 165 class lifter and you squat 550 or 600,
It might be a little more similar.
Yeah, but the size of the lifter will still dictate that it's shorter. Even a relatively better, smaller lifter, like Kevin Torres. Like, I've been coaching Kevin for 4 years, and he's a phenomenal 165 class lifter. But because he's 5'3", and the bar's not moving that long.
5'4", with huge pecs.
I was going to say
He's got great pecs.
I was going to say 5'2", but we'll split the difference at 5'3". And just because he's shorter, even though he has a ton of muscle on his frame, he still doesn't have near as much muscle as a 275 or a 308.
So he can touch heavier weights closer to a meet than a big guy.
Yeah.
And maybe even a lady is even closer, yeah?
Yeah, female lifters will almost 100% of the time be needing to keep their volume up closer to the meat and heavier weights closer to the meat because they have less muscle mass and less testosterone.
And a vagina.
They have different like percentage of, you can get all nerdy and whatever, fiber 1, fiber 2, 2A, 2, but they're really good at fucking
Fiber
reps.
1?
Yeah, fiber 1 bars will make my meet day better. But they are really good at reps, right? And they can handle, I'm making the numbers up, but if you can do 2 reps at 90%, they could probably do a set of 5 at 90%.
Yeah,
typically.
Definitely. Females tend to be more balanced from a fiber type standpoint, and the more fast twitch dominant someone is, they're going to need longer to recover because all the work they do is just more stressful to them. So female lifters, again, because they don't have as much testosterone, aren't able to hold on to their fitness as long, so they need to keep their volume up closer to the meat. So even like really highly qualified female lifters of like a 148 class, she's probably going to need maybe a 4-day taper compared to a 148 class man is going to need maybe a 6-day taper.
Obviously, it depends on per person also, but these are general.
Yeah, like I said, it's size of the lifter, strength of the lifter, experience or like proximity to their career peak, and then maybe 1 day plus or minus is based on inter or intra individual differences.
Intergalactic.
Everyone wants to know, what about
Planetary.
drugs? Drug lifters, non-drug lifters?
Yeah, it definitely, of course, it makes a difference. I'd be lying if I said it didn't, but it doesn't make the difference that people think because anabolics are going to allow the athlete to retain their fitness longer, but also decay their fatigue faster. So if it only allowed them to keep their fitness longer, then they'd have to train heavier, closer, or they could train lighter
Heavier.
for a longer time.
Yeah, a month out, they could stop.
But those two ideas kind of cancel each other out. So I think that's a big mistake that I see a lot of people making, particularly a lot of USAPL lifters. They think they need to train higher volume closer to the meat compared to what a drug using
cheater.
lifter.
Yeah, I don't know a ton of the science behind all of it, but I don't believe that like a steroid necessarily does a whole lot for like your nervous system. But is that kind of fair to say?
Yeah, neural recovery it wouldn't really help.
So people talk about recovery all the time, from anabolic steroids, and I think that people that are natural or people that just aren't in the circle or don't really know much about it, I think that they think that you just become almost indestructible, that you recover, that you don't ever get sore. And none of those things are true. You still actually get very sore. It still may take you 3 to 5 days to recover from a new training stimulus of some sort. And your nervous system is not really affected all that much differently than somebody else's. Now, maybe having more muscle mass on and being more explosive, you can maybe say, now you are playing with a different set of rules. You're enhanced.
Yeah.
And so just overall, your performance may be a little bit better. I totally understand all that, but it's not real. Like they talk about recovery.
Let's try to get some analogies. Tell me how off I am.
I think they think that you're going to recover though from like a heavy session, like in like 1 day.
Yeah, but
you're not.
So there's engines, and then there's supercharged engines. A supercharged engine maybe can run a little hotter, a little harder, but it also needs to cool off a little bit more.
Yeah.
Getting there?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment because.
But it's not night and day. I mean, a supercharged whatever Corvette and a regular Corvette need the same fucking fuel. They need the same fucking this. They need the same amount of recovery between races so they don't blow a fucking gasket.
But you're also more likely to blow up a supercharger.
But maybe you'll blow up the supercharger a little bit quicker if you run it too hard.
Yeah, because every time that supercharged engine runs, it's more stressful.
Right.
To it.
If we have the same tires, I love this. Dude, we're fucking killing this thing. If we have the same tires.
Steroid car.
Yeah, the supercharged engine's going to fucking rip off those tires maybe a little bit quicker or sooner than the non. That's all.
Yeah, so if we're driving the Trendmobile around.
Yeah. What if you put Tren in a fucking Corvette?
Has anyone ever tried that?
I'll try it right now.
More like put Tren into a Dodge Neon. You'll blow the tires off, the axle. You'll
That's
blow
what I'm talking
everything
about.
off
Yeah,
and fucking
twist the frame.
Whole thing just split apart.
Fuck you, Fast and Furious.
That's like Fast and like extra furious. Fast and roid rage.
Instead of NOS, it's just trend.
But basics are tapering may be a little bit different if you're on enhancement drugs, but training can be very similar. I get that question all the time.
I was actually going to say that the tapering, I think, is going to be more similar than people think because you you maintain fitness longer and decay fatigue faster.
What does decay fatigue mean?
Just recover.
Okay.
You recover faster.
There you go.
I just like the fancy words. It makes me feel smart.
It's a question of how shitty do you feel or how good do you feel.
Yeah.
It's a half empty, half full.
Yeah, and I think I have an article I wrote called Snowflake Training that addresses all these inter and intra-individual differences as far as MRV, exercise selection, and how to go about choosing the different factors that are controlled by these genetic differences or gender differences or experience differences. And in the article, Dr. Mike Israetel wrote an excerpt about the use of performance enhancing drugs and how that also affects them. And he's much more an expert being a doctor than I am, so I'll leave it to Dr. Mike.
Mr. Dr. Pants.
He actually has special Dr. Pants.
Yeah. You have a lot of different ways of
cut out butt cheeks.
Assless Dr. Pants.
You have a lot of different ways of of achieving a good stimulus during your training sessions. Some of those kind of quote unquote boring workouts can actually be really challenging. You like to use low rest intervals. You also change things up with frequency. Sometimes you'll do things 3 times a week. Sometimes you'll do them twice a week, and sometimes you'll do them once a week. Can you talk about that a little bit? How you're kind of changing some of these variables? Because I think that a lot of people kind of think that there's just kind of one blanket way of like training. They're like, oh, I'm going to squat every day, but they don't really have like an exit strategy on where they're going to go next. And you seem to always have. You're like, okay, well, we're going to do 3 weeks, and we're not going to do 3 weeks for no reason. These 3 weeks are going to lead to these 3 weeks, which is going to lead you into X, Y, and Z as we get 12 weeks down the road.
Yeah, so I train in modern periodization, but like a block model where we'll go through hypertrophy, general strength, and peaking. And the length of those different blocks is going to depend upon the lifter's abilities. Usually more beginner lifters are going to need to dedicate more of their time to hypertrophy. So I was to line up 10 220 class lifters with elite totals and 10 220 class lifters with class 2 totals. The biggest difference that you notice between them, well, 2 things, is the class 2 total guys would probably be about 5 or 6 inches taller than the elite guys. So they're not carrying as much muscle for their frame. So the biggest difference between beginner to intermediate lifters and intermediate to advanced lifters is how much muscle they have and how do you build that hypertrophy. Hypertrophy, being 60 to 75% load for 6 sets of 6 to 12 reps, and that's driven by increased volume from week to week to week. So if we had maybe, let's say 6 months of training to do for a beginner lifter, they might dedicate 3 months to hypertrophy, 2 months to strength, 1 month to peaking. But if we were to go to a intermediate lifter, they might be 2 months to hypertrophy, 2 months to strength, 2 months to hypertrophy, 3 months to strength, 1 month to peaking, because they have a little bit better hypertrophy. And then the advanced lifter might be 2 months hypertrophy, 2 months strength, 2 months peaking, because they need more, a longer peak to be able to get up to the weights they need and refine their technical abilities. Because of course, volume is a great way to practice technique, but the only way to truly practice maximal technique under maximal weights is to lift maximal weights.
85 or above.
Yeah. Yeah. So the general strength parameters would be 70 to 85%, maybe 75 to 90% for lower weight class lifters, female lifters, for sets of 3 to 6.
I don't like how you crowded me with the females, but that's fine.
You're like a middle. You're at 231.
I'm fat now. Yeah, now I'm fat.
Yeah, you're at 231.
I'm coming for you, buddy.
That's kind of personal, but. And then, so 75 to 90% for less experienced men's lifters and female lifters. Like we just talked about, they can handle relatively higher relative intensities. And then as we get into peaking work, that's going to be 85% plus, maybe 90% plus for triples, doubles, and singles. So it gets as simple as we're trying to build the size of the muscle, then we're trying to teach that bigger muscle to produce more force, and then we're going to take that bigger, better force-producing muscle and teach it how to have better technique, how to actually
It's specific
do
for
the
our
lifts.
exact sport.
Yeah.
Which may be different for football. If they're, you could peak for a football season, right? Be in the top shape. Peaking just means taper and peaking. You want to just define those? Peaking just means be ready for the day that you're trying to compete.
Exactly. And that's all about fitness. And CrossFit has kind of clouded the definition of the word fitness. So I'm not talking about the CrossFittest on earth, but fitness is specific to the task. So for football, it's the qualities that make up the best football player. And for powerlifting, it's the qualities that make up the best powerlifter, which are much easier to define because it's how good are you at one rep in these 3 lifts.
Right.
And all those factors are going to get manipulated through the different blocks. So like frequency, for example, which Mark referred to, is just how often you're doing the lifts. And when I'm in a hypertrophy block, it's likely that I'm going to be able to do hard training sessions a bit more frequently because the intensity is so much lower. And this gets into the concept of SRA, stimulus recovery adaptation, that every lift and different physical qualities have like different lengths they take to recover and adapt from. So during hypertrophy, when it's almost an all muscular effort, that can recover a little bit quicker than in peaking, which is a more highly neural effort.
Right.
And those 90% plus weights, your nervous system takes longer to recover. So you can't train above 90% as often, but you could do a overload session, like a hard peaking session once a week, but also during that week do another squat or deadlift session that's just purely for technique, because technical qualities, you can recover really quickly between those.
While you're training for technique / hypertrophy, the percentages can be about the same. Is that correct?
Yeah, the percentages would be about the same, just the technical sessions would be much, much lower volume. It would be like
Further away from failure, too, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like a technical session that I use during peaking. So during a peaking block for me, I'll squat and deadlift twice a week, each one heavy and one technical. So Monday, I'll deadlift heavy, squat for technique. Heavy deadlift session is going to be like 90% plus for doubles or singles.
When you're working on technique, is the rest interval short, or is it just whatever rest you need to lift perfectly?
It would depend on the time. If I was doing technical sessions far away from a meet, I'd probably use short rest periods there to build some fitness, but close to a meet, it can be long.
And don't you think that,
periods.
by being fatigued going, into, and not being extremely fatigued, but being slightly fatigued going from one set to the next can kind of force you to work on getting into better position? It can also kind of force you to get in a bad position, but it can kind of teach you, like, hey, you know what, you need to keep your chest up or whatever it is you're trying to focus on.
Yeah, it's kind of a fine line, because obviously as you get fatigued,
You don't want to kill yourself with it, yeah.
yeah, better technique will allow you to still lift the weight well. But
Right.
if you're too fatigued, your muscles are too fatigued to hold the postures you need, then you're not going to practice the technique you want. So as I use those light sessions, like I said, I'll have my heavy deadlift session on Monday and then a technical squat session. And that's maybe going to be 3 or 4 sets of singles or doubles, like 50 to 60%, so very light. And then Friday, those will flip. Squat heavy, technical deadlift session, 3 to 5 singles at 50 to 60%.
Yeah, the concept of CRV?
MRV?
Yeah, sure.
SRA?
SRA. Of like neural fatigue or a certain exercise or certain type of set fatiguing you longer, recovery time or whatever. That is can translate into the lift itself, right?
Yeah, the different,
rather than just hypertrophy or power.
Yeah,
Each lift is different.
Yeah, different lifts have different SRA curves. Deadlift usually being the longest.
Right.
Conventional deadlift being longer than sumo. Low bar squat being longer than high bar squat.
Curls being the least. Maybe you could literally though. I mean, when people talk about squatting every day, you could probably curl every day and be fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously, volume and weight and intensity play a role,
it
but
would become like a tissue integrity thing of your bicep tendons.
yeah, rhabdo or some shit may happen.
Oh, rhabdo. But yeah, the different lifts have different length SRA curves, and optimize, figuring out what that is, and we don't have like an equation for it. So you could use, stuff like HRV might help you a little bit, but probably just observing what you're doing and getting a good feel for it is going to be the best thing to develop that optimal frequency for you. And when you're in hypertrophy or general strength, you can probably train with higher frequency of the overload sessions. And by overload, I don't mean mechanical overload. I just mean like hard training sessions within those percent and rep parameters I talked about. You can do those more frequently because you can be a little bit fatigued and still do, 75% for sets of 6,
right,
or 65% for sets of 10, because you can get a little out of position and still make the lift, but you need to be more recovered during peaking because you're not going to make 95% for one or 100% for one if you get out of position or if you're fatigued.
Right.
So you need to be well recovered enough to be able to lift the weights you need to lift.
Yeah, and one thing that I end up seeing sometimes is people are, sometimes it seems like they have everything high. Everything's blasting on all cylinders. And you can't really do that, right? You can't have your frequency high and your intensity. I mean, unless, like we've talked about earlier, you have a plan to get to another spot eventually, because eventually you'll have to cool off on some of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, they all kind of need to balance and reflect each other. And usually if frequency and volume are high, then intensity needs to be relatively lower. You can do something like Bulgarian system, which is high intensity, high frequency, and that'll work well, but for a limited time. It has limited application. And I'm sure there's someone watching this like, well, my friend does it all the time, and he's put 200 pounds on a squat. That's great, all right? I'm not saying you can't be strong doing that.
Well, how efficient you are at a lift matters too, right? A lot of people, like Dan Green, for example, like, oh, I did Dan Green's program. Well, like Dan Green's pretty damn efficient in all 3 lifts.
Yeah.
When you're trying to handle that amount of volume, frequency, and intensity, and you suck at deadlifts, your
Yeah.
hips shoot up, you get in front of the fucking bar, you have
There's
no
probably
hamstrings.
only like maybe 30 or 40 like professional, what I would consider professional power lifts. So I'm not talking about making money.
Right.
I'm talking about doing the lift the right way all the time.
Same thing with the squat every day, right? If you're really efficient at squats, you could probably squat every day for a year and probably be fine. But if you're not efficient, you can't even do that for a week without getting injured or weaker.
Yeah,
shit starts to hurt.
Yeah, when your technique is really good, it's easier to do the lift. It's easier on your body. But that, squatting everyday stuff, it can be a really powerful stimulus, but for most people, it's not going to work for an extended period of time. It can work great for 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, but it's just limited because it's only manipulating intensity. It's such low volume that you're not going to develop hypertrophy from it. You're not really going to develop general strength from it. It's like peaking. But then if you're peaking for too long with too low a volume, then you're going to start to lose
This
muscle.
is all really long-winded. How do I fucking get stronger? just help
I
me
think
out.
the supercharger on the Corvette was the answer.
Yeah.
It's simple. You do more work, more general work,
Write it down.
then less work that's more specific. So you make a bigger muscle, then you teach it how to produce more force, then you build better technique, test it, start over. That's the book.
Got
You're
it.
welcome.
Yeah, he just gave it away for free.
You can send $29.99 to Silent Mike.
All right, all that was extremely boring. Half the people are asleep now. Give us a couple good stories. What's like
Have you
the
shit
crazy-
yourself?
Yeah. You got a poop story?
It's been a while since I've shit myself. Not as
By a
28
while,
years.
he means a week.
I can't say that.
not as long as I'd liked for it to be, but I think it's been since college.
Yeah.
So
992 didn't make you shart yourself a little bit?
no, I don't think so. I was really surprised how well that 992 moved. It moved better than 970.
Yeah.
I think if I would have put 1,003 on, I wouldn't have been able to come up so upright. I wouldn't have fallen over.
You just simply needed more weight.
Yeah, it was too light.
It's like multiply. I just need more weight.
Yeah. What's like kind of the craziest story you heard about training? Like somebody just doing some crazy shit in training, whether it's lifting something heavy or jumping over a fucking car or handling some crazy amounts of intensity or whatever, or frequency or whatever it might be.
Do you want a squatting one or do you want a jumping one?
Give us a couple of them.
Okay. Squatting one, the guy who basically ruined squatting for me, just like, I'll just give up now.
Ruined your life.
We're at...
Hope you're listening if you're still alive.
Yeah, we're at USA Weightlifting Nationals 2014 in Salt Lake City. And sitting down with Max Aida and John Bros. It was probably 2:30 in the morning at this point. And John Bros
squatted, 800 pounds a couple years back, right?
Pat Mendez.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He owns that gym, right? Runs that gym.
Yeah,
okay.
but John's million-time Masters world record and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And John tells us about a guy named Joe Doobie. And Joe Doobie is the last American to win a gold medal at World Championships in weightlifting, super heavyweight. He told me that Joe Doobie squatted 770 for 17.
What?
770 for 17. That he had added in a rep day.
Sounds like a tall tail.
Is there anyone could do that?
No. Well, it goes on, but
I'm probably not spelling this right. I'm gonna get marijuana.
D-U-B-E.
Yeah, doobie.
D-U-B-E. Yeah. Get the picture where he's standing on top of the podium.
I don't see that.
You click.
Maybe just go to images.
Yeah, or more images. Either of those will work. But yeah.
There you go, right in the middle. Yeah. There you go.
He's
God
on
damn,
top
he's
of
a
the
tank.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
I like that he's got his belt on still.
Yeah, so he said he
And
needed
that singlet.
Yeah.
he needed to have better strength endurance because weightlifting used to be 3 lifts instead of 2. So he
Was
needed
it a strict press or something?
clean and press. Yeah, snatch, clean and press,
Continental
clean and jerk.
Okay.
And so he just kept that was the most weight that could go on the bar, so he kept doing more reps. And I posted on Facebook about it, and Joe Doobie actually Facebook messaged me to tell me that it was not 770 for 17. Instead, it was only a meager 710 for 17. So squatting still ruined forever.
What a puss.
Yeah. So
That's insane.
yeah, I mean, that's unimaginable to me. It inspired me to write like a series of articles called 3 All-Time Badasses You Need to Know About. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about Joe Doobie and Serge Redding and
Silent Mike.
hasn't made it in yet. But,
One day. I'll squat 300 for 7.
yeah,
There's one guy on that podium out of the 3 of them that looks like he's following the drug testing protocol.
and one of the craziest, shot put is my background. One of the craziest shot put related stories I've heard, and there are a lot of those, is C.J. Hunter, is Marion Jones' ex-husband. Yeah, he got popped for drugs, but whatever. I don't really care.
Not a bad guy.
He's a cheater.
So if you've seen C.J. Hunter, he was the 2000 Olympic trials champion. He threw like 72 feet in the shot put, and he's kind of got like a Warren Sapp type of body. About 6.
Hot.
Yeah.
He's also kind of from the Poughkeepsie area.
Oh.
I think he was from Pennsylvania.
He's from New York, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think he grew up
Google
near
it.
me. I think it's New Paltz, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he went to school there or something. I don't know. I don't know where he went. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking
I
about.
might be thinking that 'cause he went to Penn State. I know, but so anyway, C.J. Hunter about 6'1", 330, 335, rotund, you may even say. And our track coach when I was at Cal told me a story, and he was also an Olympic medalist in the decathlon. He told us a story about C.J. Hunter doing an 8-foot broad jump onto a 3-foot high box.
What?
And I'm listening to this like, holy shit, like that's amazing. But our coach was also kind of full of it, so I took that with many grains of salt, and then later talked to my throws coach's son, who was C.J. Hunter's coach for a while, and he told me, he's like, yeah, no, that story's not true. He told me that from 6 feet away, he jumped onto a 54-inch box. 6'1", 330
Yeah, eat that,
pounds.
Michael Jordan.
Just, I mean, that is unfathomable to me. That dude's got like a 500 horsepower engine in his ass to do that.
That sounds hot too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he was holding in that.
Maybe he can drive our trend car. Be a lot of horsepower in that fucking thing.
Yeah.
Oh my
Rip the
God.
tires right off.
Yeah, and there are people out there, if all your focus is in the powerlifting world, like watch these videos of the weightlifters in the training hall at World Championships, see
Yeah,
some
some
of
crazy
these.
shit happened even just this last weekend with squats and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the 58 kilo girl, she either front squatted 180 or 190 kilos.
Yeah, stupid.
So
Oh, what'd she do?
front squatted, I think, 190 kilos.
Holy
like
shit.
418
Yeah.
at 127
Yeah.
body weight.
That's insane.
That front squat is more than the 123 class women's world record with wraps, and she front squatted it
That's crazy.
like 3 days out from her
Could you
meet.
do that in a meet, in a powerlifting
What about our
meet?
boy?
Does the bar have to be on your back?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see Derek Kendall front squat at a
Yeah, he could do something
at a
nuts.
meet.
What about our boy Max Aida doing 500, 500, 500?
Max Aida is all about fancy tricks like that.
It's all about those likes.
Yeah, he is all about the likes.
You guys seen that? The 500 back squat,
Yeah.
500 front
Yeah,
squat,
I saw
500.
Yeah, so we had this event
Deadlift?
at the Juggernaut HQ on Halloween called Night Lift. We did it with the company US Iron Club, and it was a lot of fun. So it was like lifting exhibitions plus a Halloween party with DJ and a bar and everything. It was great. And
We didn't get our invite, thanks.
I think I invited Mark. I don't know about you.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
And Max, so the exhibition that Max did, he was down there helping us with our. So we did seminar all day Friday, all day Saturday, and the party Saturday night. Everyone was kind of exhausted at that point, but Max in his Where's Waldo costume goes out, back squats 500, racks it, front squats 500, drops it, deadlifts 500, all in the course of like 20 seconds or something. And went and did it. The thing that made that tougher is that week was like the busiest week of travel and stuff that I'd ever had.
You might have been here
I was
the week before, yeah.
Yeah, so I was in Florida the weekend before. I tried to do that 765 squat. Outside as like the guys were getting ready to, like they were like practicing the loading, like the timing of the loading. We're getting pretty sketchy. Like right, I was like that every time. And so I ended up missing the 765.
Right.
But the plates were going literally to the very end of the bar, almost to where the guys were having to keep their hands on it. It just made the bar so whippy.
And luckily for you, we captured that moment in time forever, and we stuck it on the cover of Power Magazine.
Yeah.
It ended up being a great photo.
Yeah. And sorry to burst everyone's bubble. I missed that squat on the cover of the magazine. But
His quote too, when I said, "Hey, you look like you squatted this really high," He said, "Oh, I got much deeper than that." And I said,
was
"Said
not-
by every multi-ply lifter ever."
Not the lowest point of the lift, but
Whatever, cheater.
Yeah, I'll come back and do that squat pyramid some other time with a little bit thinner plates and maybe a bit stiffer bar.
More coordinated.
More coordinated loaders. I'm going to get a good NASCAR pit crew action going
What's
there.
a chick that does that? Christmas
Christmas
Abbott
Abbott,
does one,
yeah.
and then there's a famous one, right? Or no? I thought there was another one.
Oh yeah, she has a pit crew thing.
I don't know.
Is
You
it-
get two hot chicks doing it, buddy.
That
Now
does-
we're talking likes.
That does sound better.
Yeah.
I like where your head's
Yeah.
at, Silent
Now
Mike.
we're getting likes. At least 1,000.
Did you guys see the guy that did what was it, 710 or 705 squat and like I don't know, he did like 8 seconds. Did you see that for a triple?
Yeah.
He just like
His last name is
Olympic-
Seim, Seim. I think he's from either Georgia or Azerbaijan or something. And his training hall at Worlds 705 for 3. Just boom, boom, boom. Like unracks it, squats 3 reps, and re-racks it in the Instagram video.
I don't even think he's got a belt on or anything. Does he have
Yeah, they
anything?
don't care.
Yeah, he did 705 for 10 with just like a little weightlifting belt, like, and crushed it, and has done, I think they said 840 or 850 with no
Looks
belt.
like a giant baby.
A strong giant baby.
Yeah, strong giant baby. All right, well, where are you off to next?
Well, tomorrow driving over to Reno, American Open, support all the Juggernaut athletes.
You got any powerlifters there?
I do not have any powerlifters there. Well, yeah, Marissa's really the only USAPL.
We're going to force him to help Ryan Spencer.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
about it.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, so I think there's supposed to be 990 weightlifters competing, plus a USAPL meet, plus a strongman contest, plus a jump rope contest.
Oh, that's where you're going, right?
I'll definitely be getting in on some mean double Dutch action there.
Plus a blizzard's coming in.
Yeah.
Double Dutch is more like Dutch oven. I'm here for the Dutch oven contest.
Double Dutch
They're
oven.
like, no. Double Dutch oven.
That sounds hot.
All right, Mr. Chad Wesley
That
Smith.
literally does sound hot. It'll probably get really humid in this double Dutch oven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sauna.
Tell everybody where to find you.
And where they can buy your book.
You can buy my book at store.jtsstrength.com. It is Juggernaut Training, A Thoughtful Pursuit of Strength. Very proud of it, so please go check it out if you want to learn more about the ideas in this big head. And then at Juggernaut Training and at Chad Wesley Smith on Instagram, Juggernaut Training Systems on YouTube and Facebook. And
Maybe you should put that hat on Mike's head so they can see what
Mesmerized by the hat.
When they're shitty,
Yeah, no, the hat really. It threw me. I was like,
when they're
staring at it.
shitty
I could
drivers
tell.
on the road,
I
I
could
always
tell.
just say they're drunk. It's a good
Yeah.
excuse for anything.
Oh, I'm drunk.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever. I'm out of here.
Bad decisions are made, right?
I'll have you know there are 2 notches clicked on the back of this hat. So
But you ordered
It's
the
got a-
extra
you
big
got-
hat.
Yeah, it has a seatbelt extender on it.
You got room to
Do you
grow.
need a seatbelt extender on the plane?
no, the only time I did need one, but I didn't use it was when we were coming back from Scranton USAPL Nationals.
You needed one.
I definitely needed one. It was
You're like, listen, I'm wedged in here pretty good. I'm not about to move.
it was like maybe a 12 or 15 seat plane to fly from Scranton to Philadelphia, and then I was flying Philadelphia to LA. And I was sitting in the very back corner, like the back row of it was like a bench, like a bus seat, five seats across the whole way,
No way.
in the back, and I'm sitting in the back left
Sounds
corner.
terrible.
And I kind of there's a video of this process that my friend took as I'm trying to buckle the seatbelt, and I just kind of realize it. And I just grab the other seatbelt and do the Jurassic Park. Just tie the knot. And I just kind of put my hands over my lap so the stewardess couldn't see the laws that were being broken. I refuse to ask for the seatbelt extender. I will not go down that road.
They say you should travel with your own, then you never have to ask.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going
You
down
can
that
just
road.
have your the buckle on your pants be like a seatbelt
Seatbelt,
buckle.
yeah.
I mean, what's the
That
seatbelt
way
really
it's
going to
not-
do if the plane crashes?
Yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Just keep you trapped in there while it's on fire, which is perfect. God damn. Multiply your hustle, multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered. I'm at Mark Smellybell on Instagram and Twitter.
That's Silent Mike with 2 Ks.
You want to hit sponsors.
And thanks for all our sponsors. If you guys like powerlifting shirts and gear and hats and I think bags, check out 8 Man Strongs. Compex, which we just already talked about.
Compex USA.
If you want to learn how to twerk, grab the Compex, put it on your booty. It feels very nice, and it also helps you recover. Rogue Fatness, some of the best equipment in the world. I like the Rogue Ohio Power Bar. Mark likes the Rogue Westside Bar.
Yeah, that bar's great.
They're both great bars, but check out all their shit for some equipment. K-Band Coffee for keeping us caffeinated. HowMuchYouBench.net, the Slingshot to keep you fitted. And
don't forget to follow Jesus on Instagram and Twitter.
Jesus H. Christ. And I think that's it.
ThePowerMagazine.com.
And ThePowerMagazine.com, the newest issue with this beautiful face on it.
I have to.
You can get it digitally or on paper.
I'd suggest both.
One of my favorite Twitter accounts is actually MLB Jesus. It's awesome.
Oh, really?
I'm Jimmy T, STTV on Instagram and Twitter. Follow the show on Instagram at Mark Bell's PowerCast, Facebook.com/SuperTrainingGym, Twitter and Periscope at STGymSack. And we're out.
Mark Bell's PowerCast is a production of SuperTraining.com.